Howdy everyone, my name is Hallcifer. Welcome back to my video series in which I redesign the cast members of a story I've been cooking up. If you're unfamiliar or have not watched my prior video, I highly encourage that you do so. There will be a link to it up in the right hand corner that will lead you straight there. If not, that's fine too, you probably won't miss too much context. As a brief overview of how this is going to go, I will be breaking down my step-by-step process on making a character sheet. I will also be giving insights to the character at hand, as well as talking a little bit about their lore. Spoiler free, of course. Without further ado, let us get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Today, I will be taking on a challenge that I have not attempted before. Shocking, I know. This will be quite different from my previous video where I covered our first protagonist, Draven. That video was easy. I already knew where I wanted to go with that, and I had a lot of material to draw reference from as I've drawn Draven quite a lot in the past. The same cannot be said for our second protagonist, Gracie. Gracie is a significantly younger character of mine, both in creation and physical age. She started out as a FNAF security guard fan character named Gale, but eventually got repurposed to be the main character and catalyst of her and Draven's current narrative. That being said, I don't have a lot of art of her, and the art I do have is inconsistent at best. So, as I sat down to work on this sheet, I came to the realization that this would be much more of an endeavor than some of the other characters. But I had hope and a vision, kind of. Huh? The very first thing I do is throw together a mood board. As I've stated before, this is an incredibly important step that helps with virtually every aspect going forward. I knew going into this that Gracie was a character who did not shy away from her femininity. She is a young girl who enjoys pink and girly things, and to hell with anyone who tells her she can't. Nature is also a large motif of her character arc, especially flowers. I don't want to over-explain my choices here, but the core of this exercise was to make a mood board that felt like her. That way, when I hit a snag in the design process, I could look back to this for inspiration. Now, when it comes to ideation and sketching out ideas, I did have a direction I was leaning in. A few years back, I made an animatic for my senior capstone called Ice Cream Can't Solve Everything. This project was the first time I had drawn Gracie consistently over multiple images, and there are some elements in this design that I knew I wanted to incorporate into her official look. I very much liked her hair, bow, dress, and eye shape. I also had this one ideation sketch that I did much more recently in spring of 2024. Here I imagined her older, and this would kind of solidify the direction I wanted to go in terms of color, at least for her later iterations. Throughout this story, there are 3 major time skips, and Gracie looks quite different in each of them, as they will be following her through adolescence into early adulthood. But for this video, we will be focusing mainly on her appearance in the first arc, though we will dabble in some ideation of her second. Now, unlike the last video, I did actually record my process when it came to the ideation sketches, which is what you're seeing right now. I knew I really wanted a brighter, childish look as Gracie starts out the story in the 12 to 13 age range. I also wanted her to really contrast with Draven's rather dour and punky aesthetic, which is something that eventually rubs off on her later down the line. With her second iteration, I was really liking the direction, but I think it definitely needs some more work and thought put into it, which I will probably do in the future, just not this video. With her first iteration though, I liked it so much that I just went ahead and started right on the character sheet afterwards. Just like last time, I will be approaching this character sheet in sections, starting with the turnaround. This exercise is to help you understand different angles of your character. Some turnarounds are pretty detailed, featuring a full character turn, but this is just for me, so I just keep it to the front, back, and profiles. I wanted to make sure she had a strong silhouette with her round, poofy hair and sharp pleated skirt. The leg warmers and pants were a huge deviation from her previous appearance. I also realized that instead of just having the bow act as like a headband holding her bangs back, it would actually be a ponytail holding her hair back, which I think suits her childlike whimsy much more. Gracie is what is known as a Nephilim, meaning she's half human, half angel. However, she's special in the same way that Draven is, in the sense that her human counterpart was also a psychic witch. You may notice this iteration of Gracie does not have any sort of witch bands like Draven did. That's pretty much because at this point in the story, she hasn't gotten them yet, though when she does get them, I've been playing with the idea of her wearing them on her neck or as a bracelet. When it comes to coloring, I knew I really liked the palette I had in the ideation, but it was lacking something. So I played around a little bit and ended up slapping on a pink overlay that I think gives the effect that I was going for. And now that I'm happy with the turnaround, I felt confident to continue on to our next section. Our main pose is just a static one, keeping it sweet and simple. It's a little strange because I noticed that the style differentiates just a little bit from the turnaround and the rest of the sheet, which I think is more of a me thing. I also noticed that in the last video as well, and I think it's probably because of how heavily I rely on the symmetry tool for that portion of the sheet. It definitely stiffens up my style a little bit, particularly in the face, but oh well. I feel like the further into this project I got, the more comfortable I was drawing Gracie. I go ahead and render this one out as though I would in a regular illustration. I choose pink and warmer tones to shade with because I just want to add that kind of glamorous pizzazz. I do just want to take a moment to shout out those leg warmers. I'm so glad I added those to her outfit, and I love how they look. Overall, I think this main pose came out very well. I quite enjoy this rendering style, and I feel like she looks kind of glamorous, which is exactly what I wanted. But now it's time to move on. Now, I'm just gonna lump these two sections together, but I'll start with the expressions. Here I wanted to get a bunch of different angles of her face, which was gonna help me understand more about her facial structure. Gracie is another easy character to draw expressions for, as she's very much like Draven. You can read Gracie like a book, and she lets her emotions make most of her decisions. A fact that tends to spark a lot of conflict between her and her fellow Slayers, particularly Draven, who is the exact same way. Despite this, Gracie is a much more kind-hearted person, so even though I needed a wide range, I wanted to make sure she still had that softness about her. When it came to designing outfits, I won't lie, I was pretty stumped. After I cleaned up my base for experimentation, I had to spend like 3 hours just looking around for inspiration that not only fit the vibe she already had going, but was also casual enough to feel realistic. To make it easier on myself, I kind of decided to go by season, which is why there are only 4 explorations here. I also did a few color combinations that deviated from her palette. I definitely think that despite the trouble I had getting started, the end result was a pretty good success. Not only do I feel like these are all outfits that she would wear, but I think it's also a natural progression into the darker aesthetic she adopts later on. Boy, am I glad that this character has an official sheet now. I was low-key dreading Gracie's sheet in particular because I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to do her justice. But looking back at the work I've done here, honestly, it's kind of given me a little bit of a confidence boost. I'm so happy with how this turned out, and although this is just the first of 4 or so designs I'll have to do for her, it is a solid first step, methinks. And hey, congratulations to you for making it this far in the video. I've had a great time working on these projects to share with you, and I hope you've enjoyed watching them. I've definitely got a handful of characters to cover in this story, though to keep from repeating myself too much, I may start lumping some together, which may result in longer videos, but we'll see. I should probably disclaim too that although I'm putting these videos out now, the Slayer story itself is very much still in the early stages of development. It very well may be that 5 years from now is when the chapters start airing, maybe even longer. Stuff like this takes time, a lot of it, and I'm just one guy. Nevertheless, I still wanted to share the process with you all. I've definitely been feeling the drought in the creative online sphere right now, and even if only a few people see this, I'm still putting something out there, you know? Holding myself accountable to still work on the things I enjoy, despite it all. Thank you so much to the folks who do happen across this video. If you have any thoughts, be them negative or positive, I implore you to share them in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, you might be interested in some of the other stuff I make. I'll throw up some other videos at the end card that you might find interesting. But that's the end of the video. Again, my name is Hallcifer. I've been your entertainment for today, and you, hopefully, have been entertained. I will see you in the next one. Bye.